but it was a different type of crack. I was infused with hard-nosed journalism. I said, this is it. This is what it's about. I remember when I first met Harold Dow, I was sitting in the fishbowl at CBS. Now, the fishbowl is this glass office off to the side of in the broadcast center where they do the broadcast. And I was a young reporter. They brought me in. They were introducing me to everyone. And sitting to my right that particular day was Dan Rather, whom I actually witnessed crying before the end of that day. He had teared up over a Veterans Day piece that Bruce Morton did, but that was not the highlight of my day. Before that, I saw the correspondents call in their scripts to be edited, and some of them brought them in. At one point, I looked up, and I saw the afro coming. Harold Dow was coming to the fishbowl. He came in there, and we were introduced, and he gave me that look of, man, I'm on deadline, but I'm pleased to meet you. I wish you well. Maybe we can talk later. And then, young people, you got to listen to this part carefully, please. He gave his script to the senior broadcast producer for an edit. And the producer pulled out his pen, and he was going over Dow's script, and he didn't change anything. He handed the script back to Harold Dow, and I'll never forget these words. Harold Dow said, "Will it fly?" And the producer said, "It'll fly like a duck." And for me, as a young reporter, that was a seminal moment. I instantly recognized that it's more to this than the perfect afro and the manly mustache. It was a different type of perfection that I had to pursue. I had to strive for it. I now admired Harold Dow for reasons that had nothing to do with aesthetics. It became a matter of substance and being the best and having your A game in action when you walk into the fishbowl. Now, I have no doubt that more than a few great journalists will come out of FAMU's journalism program in the future. I mean, on average, these students have the character that major media corporations actually want and are looking for. FAMU, I believe, is the motherlode of the well-grounded students who are willing to work hard for success instead of believing that they are entitled to success. This is the motherlode. And Kim Godwin is a perfect example of what lies ahead down the road for a good core of FAMU students. And there are weaknesses. We understand that. And that's part of the reason I'm here. The faculty, alumni, CBS, and Mrs. Dow, in all of their wisdom, recognized an Achilles heel at FAMU that could be treated. And there was a need for these precious students to better articulate their writings and their thoughts. And that's a very easy problem to address, but if it isn't addressed, it becomes a major obstacle to placing these top-notch students in major media organizations. That's why I'm here, to help these students more clearly express themselves in a fashion that's acceptable to mass media. I'm also charged to get them to speak up, to participate, to express their intellects on a daily basis, especially the young men. And so far, it's working wonderfully. I wake up in the middle of the night smiling. Sometimes I'm walking across campus with tears in my eyes, tears of joy. At the end of the day, I hope to help produce a good journalist, someone who is aggressive about pursuing news and information, someone who writes well, someone who speaks well, and someone who is confident, someone who isn't afraid to put some skin into the game of journalism. I have to imagine what Harold Dow's expectations would be, and then I push a little further. And with these students, they'll tell you, I push even more. I push them in an old school fashion, and there are no apologies there. I teach the students what I believe is the true purpose of journalism: to seek the truth, to attain the truth, to reveal the truth. Have any of you seen the Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick? I think it was in 1988. And I know what Dorothy's thinking. What has Ben talking about a Godzilla movie for right now? But it was a pretty good movie, and near the beginning of the movie, Broderick is called to a site where this giant creature was suspected of being. And as he got to the scene, he jumped down into this ditch, and there were these other researchers there. They were all excited about what they were finding in that ditch. And he asked them, he said, "Are there any footprints?" And someone told him, "You're standing in the footprint." And at that point, the camera pans back, and you see this giant footprint, and Broderick is standing in the middle of it. Well, Godzilla, that's the only way I can accurately describe my feelings about being the Harold Dow professor. He has a giant's footprint, and I don't think I can ever fill it. But part of my mission, along with this great faculty, is to isolate, encourage, train, and push a student or students who will one day be able to walk among giants like Harold Dow. Thank you.
Dr. Amons, Dean Hawkins, to my friends, I am truly honored to be here. Harold was a legend. He often told me so. I didn't believe it. After 30 years of marriage, you start to wonder, what might you have in common with this person? And Harold was unassuming, and I think that was one of our common traits, because I didn't assume that I was going to be sitting up here today or speaking to you today. I just assumed that I would come here and enjoy the celebration of Harold. So I don't have a prepared speech, but I would like to share with you probably something a little private. We lost Harold about 14 months ago, and it was devastation to our family. And during and in that devastation, we all reached out to anything that we could. And whether you believe or not, whether I believe or not, I spoke with a medium who professes to have contact with those who have passed over. And she told me that it was much too soon, that it usually takes a long time for a spirit to be able to connect. But then she said, wait, this man is here. She's like, he is aggressive. He's like knocking on the door saying, no, I'm here. So we had a conversation, and what I'd like to share with you is that she said, that Harold said, God is real. God is real, Harold said. That was his last live report, that he had gotten to the other side and that it's all real, and that he will be watching over my family and watching over me, and now watching over Ben Davis, watching over FAMU. And so we are just delighted and honored with this professorship. Harold's motto was dream big dreams, and I have to tell you that Kim had a vision, and because of her vision, we're here. So if you will, please, always remember to dream big dreams. Harold said, don't stop, no matter what. He loved to win. And no matter what it took, he was going to attempt to win. And most often in the stories, he did win. And he had the most delightful, childish laugh when he conquered whatever the story or subject matter was. It thrilled him to win. So, students, pursue your dreams. Be dedicated, be disciplined, be determined. And when you do that, and when you reach your goals, Harold is smiling, and our family will be thankful and grateful. Thank you so much. I have a picture of Harold, the one you saw up there. I like to present it to Ben Davis so that maybe he will put it in the classroom to remind you students of who Harold is. may come alive.